Hello folks, welcome to I guess this will be a weekend smoke. So got my drink, got my water. Darn it, let me pause the video here, almost forgot. Okay, and I'm back. So yeah, I wrote down some stuff and of course I forgot it, so I had to go get it. So yeah, so today is the Cohiba red, not red, but they're red dot black label, and this is I guess considered their strong line or stronger line. You probably got one that's even stronger. No dog, not for you. Yeah, I'm using my I got it for less than $10 online. It's a vertical quad torch because it is windy out here. Yes, quad torch is very strong. Oh yeah, that lit it. Yeah, so I got it online for like under $10. You can get these on eBay. There are knockoffs. It's not, the brand's not vertical. Yeah, but you can get knockoffs of these online on eBay, even on Amazon. But I definitely recommend getting the vertical if you do get it. And quad torch, I would say for cigar smoking, the dual torch and quad is the way to go. Not quad, but dual and tri-torch. I kept calling it quad. It's actually a tri-torch. Oh yeah, this cigar is definitely, it's got a bitter taste to it. It's got a strong smell, strong aroma. Yeah, since it's windy, the smoke won't be lingering around when I puff. Yes, a spot right there is not quite catching, so I'll keep an eye on it. If it doesn't catch, I'll have to light it up again. So yeah, it's not quite summer yet. It is hot now. It's like above 85 pretty much every day. Sunny. Well, this last week we had a few. My dinner. We had a few nights where later at night thunderstorm rolled in. It rained, which is nice because when the day came around, it's like 90 degrees, sunny and hot. So the rain the night before is nice. You can see the camera shaking. Yeah, so it's almost summer. It's almost the season of ghost. I guess if you're Asian, that's for us the summertime is the season of ghosts and spirits. Nice smooth draw. Like I say, this inhale some smoke there. It is a stronger cigar, so I wouldn't smoke one bigger. A Toro will probably be as big as I would tackle. But the Corona size one is Corona, as in coronavirus. So basically, of course, people are speaking about the economy. They're talking about, because we're locked down, the economy is going into the gutters. So I'll kind of go over economy real quick. So basically, in the early days of economy, we're not going to go as far back as the caveman, because in the caveman you didn't have anything. It was like you, your wife and kids, and maybe your buddy and his wife and kids that lived in a cave somewhere. But in the early days, it was a barter system. Either you barter a skill to get what you needed, or you would trade, like, say, one pig for 10 chickens, and that's what farmers did, was the bartering system. Then as for Europe, because bartering system was over in Asia too, and all of that, and then of course in Europe, we'll talk about Europe. The church started hoarding gold, and the church were the one that bought in the gold system, saying, "Hey, we of course back then the church were the one, because they have the gold, they were the one that minted the gold coins, and the gold coin was used as currency, and of course to back up the gold coin itself backed itself up, but to back up the gold coin, it was the Spanish church, or basically the Catholic Church's gold reserve was what backed up the gold coin. Then eventually they switched over to paper money, and of course the paper money, what backed up we're still talking about gold and silver currency here, or gold and silver economy. So to back up paper money was the government, who had gold and or silver to back up that paper money. Then eventually we switched to a combination of gold, basically valuable metals, and fiat currency. And the fiat currency is basically based on a country's production, not just the GDP of the country, but what the country can do. Countries like England, they're no longer agricultural. They no longer are industrial. They're no longer colonial, so they don't have their colonies to for trade items and stuff, which is the bartering system. They're no longer agricultural. They're no longer industrial. They are. I forgot what the name of the. Yeah, but countries like England, which in the U.S. uses the fiat currency too, because I guarantee you that the gold that we got don't cover a tenth of what the monetary that we got out there that we printed. And I read somewhere that the Federal Reserve, which is not actually federal nor part of the government. From what I read, those guys have a spending power of like 99 trillion. And I believe that's based on the U.S.'s GDP, which is somewhere around 99 trillion. And of course, the GDP is based on what the government, every man, woman, and child, what we and what potential we have to put into the economy. So the U.S. is somewhere around 99 trillion. Of course, with the lockdown, it's probably way down. So basically, if you keep the economy closed, now here in Texas we are semi-reopened. Restaurants are reopened. You can, of course, if you go there with your wife, or your family, of course, you'll sit on your own table. But the problem is that, if you go into one of those small restaurants where tables are like 3 feet from each other, so they're having to space the tables 6 feet from each other. And besides that, I'm one of those folks who prefer to order takeout. I'll do it online, or I'll phone it in, go pick up the food, come home. Cause at home, I'm a slow eater. Cause at a restaurant, you're kind of rushed. Especially if you go during dinner. Peak dinner hour between the hours of six and 9. You feel like you're rushed. It's like, hey, sit down. Here's your menu. What you want. What you want to drink, what you want to order. Can you please eat and leave? Oh yeah, don't forget to pay. But if you order, you bring it home. You can eat it at your leisure. Eat it while you're watching TV. Yes, we got TV in the dining room. I mean, nobody uses the dining room anymore. Everybody uses the living room. Somebody should come up with a coffee table / dining room, a dining table. I'm pretty sure that someone probably already has came up with that idea. Of course, there's the little portable single dining trays, table trays you could use. So yeah, so Texas, we are semi-open. Problem is the barbers, salons, nail salon and beauty salons are still closed. I need a haircut. Of course, shaving is no problem. I can do my own shaving. Don't want to have to break out the suck cut. Like I said, luckily I got my hair cut the week of the lockdown. So I was like, okay, you know what, man, I'm gonna go get my hair cut. Cause I see where this shit's going. And yes, so you really can't have. Of course, the liberals, the socialists, they're loving this right now because everybody's equally out of work, equally broke, equally miserable. Because I got to talking to friends and family, and of course, since the economy's like this, we do get into politics like like socialism, and like free housing. And of course I try to explain to folks, well, if you want government free housing, you're not going to get a nice, 1,300 square foot house, 3-bedroom square foot house that's got nice wood floor, nice central heating, AC. Although you have a better quality, of course. Basically, you're not going to get a nice house. If you get a let's say you get a Section 8 house where it's an actual house. It's going to be subpar. It's going to be thin. It's going to be thin rugs with thin foam paddings. You'll be lucky if the heating and AC works. The plumbing is going to always be backed up. Your toilet, basically whatever you got in the house is going to be the bare minimum of the bare minimum that the government is going to supply you. They're not going to get you a coal or a Moen, bath faucets. Same for cars, and just look at USSR. When their government housing, there were stories coming out of Russia that there was 2 to 3 families sharing a 1 to 2 bedroom apartment. Your car is not going to be a car. Your car is going to be public transportation, and the public transportation is going to be if you ever ridden any. I'm not just talking about New York. The New York Transit, it's going to smell. It's going to smell like sweat, piss, and feces. Let's see what else. So we just can't keep printing money, and of course in the blue states like California, Michigan, they're talking about extending the lockdown. And of course, then if you live in the red state, the government is going to slowly open things back up. So it's not like hey everybody, go back before March. Yes, and speaking of Michael Moore. So it looks like he finally had the realization that solar and wind farms are a scam, or actually not a scam, but they don't work. So because his thinking was that solar and wind farms would last forever. You wouldn't have to maintain them, and you wouldn't have to replace them. So it turns out, yes, solar and wind farms have about a 15-year life cycle before you have to replace the solar panels, which are non-recyclable. Same thing for the wind turbines. You have to replace those around every 15 years, and those are not recyclable. So you got all these solar panels and all of these wind turbines. Those are the companies who's deciding to actually clean up their mess that's filling up the landfills. And in a lot of cases, the company is just leaving the solar panels out there in the desert. They're leaving the wind farms. They're leaving the wind turbines up, which of course is a is a hazard to not to animals, but to people who may go out around there. And not to mention all the trees that you got to kill, that you got to cut down. Well, you got to kill basically. Kind of like in Germany, for every turbine that they put up, they have to cut down something like 170 hectares, which I think is something like 5,000 acres. So you have to cut down basically 5,000 acres of tree for every one wind turbine. And on top of that, it's like the area around the wind turbine all has to be concreted in, because I guess that's the foundation. So it's kind of like the quarter or a half mile area around the wind turbine has to be concreted in. And of course, to the liberals such as Michael Moore, this is something that you can't ignore. It's out there. You got hundreds of wind farms and solar farms that are sitting vacant, and a lot of the companies have gone out of business because one, they're taking tax money to start up the company. They used up all of that money, and then or a lot of them just I guess set up their solar or the wind farm haphazardly and then take the money and run. So now you have all these abandoned solar farms, abandoned wind farms that are sitting around the U.S. and around the world. So of course Michael Moore. Now the guy's the lefty, so don't get him wrong. So now he's like, okay, screw it, I'm off of the what is he saying? What is that? Clean energy. He's like, okay, I'm done with clean energy. Clean energy don't work. It's a scam. But now he's jumped onto the bandwagon of there's too many people. There's too many people on Earth, and that people are destroying the environment. Now, yeah, I'm smoking this a little slow. It is strong, but it's not kicking my ass just yet. So when the leftists elites talk about there's too many people on Earth, what they're actually talking about is there's too many Westerners, and by Westerners I mean what they're talking about. There's too many people, and we need to kill people off. They're talking about white people. Yeah, I know. Let that sink in. They're not talking about going going to Africa where women there are having 6-7 babies per woman. I'm not talking about going to the Middle East where there same thing, 6-7 women having 6-7 kids. I'm not talking about going to India and killing all the people in India. It was 1.2 billion people. And sure as hell I'm going to talk about going to China where there's 1.4 billion people and start killing off the Chinese. And I have a feeling coronavirus might be one of their experiment run, like, hey, let's try and see, let's release the coronavirus and let's see what happens. Whoops, doing it. Oh, man. Anyways. Okay, I thought Cigar went out. Yeah, so when they're talking about thinning out the herd, they're talking about, killing off white people. Because and of course, they not just that, but then they want the rest of us living in huts and eating bugs. Not them. They of course are the pigs in Animal Farm. And I'll kind of close up on Animal Farm here last. Yeah, so Michael Moore, the fat pig himself, that someone's jokingly saying that his calorie input per day is more than the calorie input of all of West Africa. You gotta keep dehydrated. So yeah, so speaking of Africa, I think in the whole of Africa there's something like 2,000 cases of coronavirus, and maybe something like 200 dead. Which of course the leftist media isn't really talking about because it doesn't fit their narrative. Which of course of course we've been saying, hey, hot weather, extremely hot weather, like 80, 90 degree plus weather, sunshine, which Africa has a lot of. They have plenty of hot weather. They're hot year round. They got sun year round. And on top of that, Africans are already inoculated with hydroxychloroquine, which is for malaria. So you can, put all that together. It's like, well, okay, that explains why Africa's not suffering very badly from coronavirus. Okay, I think it might be something more of around 20,000 infected in the whole of Africa. But I think the dead was something around 200. Yes, and as I mentioned, let me touch up this cigar here. Whoa. What I've noticed right now is that the meat is kind of a scarcity, and by meat I'm talking about beef. Oh, it's like the yes, I'm not puffing enough. I'm yakking more and not smoking enough. Kind of like I mentioned, if we keep this lockdown going, livestock, like I said, farmers are having to cull their livestock. They're having to leave the vegetables and fruits to rot in the field because no one's picking them. So eventually it's going to hit the shelves, and I guess beef is one of the first things that I noticed. Like, hey man, now there was a lot of ground beef, but cuts of meat were slim pickings. And I didn't go during the weekend. I went during the weekday because I prefer to go on the weekdays, so I didn't have to fight the infected crowd. Yeah, next you'll notice vegetables stop being the slim pickings. Next thing you know, we will be eating canned vegetables and meats, spam. What's that? Corned beef hash. Spaghetti on a can. Yeah, so hopefully the red states are slowly opening up. Hopefully in the next 3 weeks we get fully going, as before all of this lockdown happened, and put this behind us, because the blue states, like I said, they're going to suffer because of their government. And of course you have the knuckleheads come out, who come out and go, oh, oh, why don't you just go ahead and open up early? Everybody gets sick and die. Huh, 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 huh. Well, in case you haven't noticed, you know, no one's really getting sick and no one's really dying. You know, these people, you know, you can stay in your cave. When you finally come out of your cave, the Morlocks, yes, check out The Time Machine. You don't have to read the book. But I definitely recommend the 1963 movie or version of The Time Machine. I like that one better. That one kind of gives. I mean, I watched that one first. Now I think there was like the 2000 and was it 19? Damn, I forgot when the remake was. I think it was in 2000 something. The remake of The Time Machine. I prefer the original movie with the Morlocks and the Eloys. You know, the Eloys were the cattles for the Morlocks. Yeah, so basically the Morlocks, the liberals, yes, and in the original movie, and I believe in the book too that he mentioned they were a hue of they were so pale that they turned blue. They were pale blue. But yeah, in the 1963 movie, the Morlocks are a bluish color, so it kind of fits the Democrats. So when you finally come out of your Morlock cave and notice that people are outside, you know, enjoying life, and life is passing you by, but hopefully. Now, if these governors in these blue states decide they want to keep their states locked down for the next few months, you know, just be aware that don't stick your hand out, you know, asking President Trump to keep printing money for you. Doesn't work like that. You can't keep printing money, or you can't try to live off the backs of the red states that decide to go back to work. Yes, and yes, I made the 3M video, and I think it's the same few people that's going around all of these 3M videos and commenting, "Hey man, you know where 3M gets the pulp from? They're getting the pulp from Canada." And I don't bother answering back to these people because they're stupid. You know, you should realize that the reason 3M gets their pulp from Canada. It's not that the U.S. doesn't have any wood pulp to make masks with. It's not that, you know, anywhere else in the world doesn't have any wood pulp. It says that the reason 3M went with, you know, the Canadian wood pulp is because it's cheaper. The U.S. has plenty of wood pulp to make masks with. It's just that the Canadian one underbid it. The American wood pulp. Whoever was the bidder in the U.S., the Canadians underbid them. 3M went with the Canadian. All right, so yeah, so that's answers that one. And that's it. I don't have. Oh yeah, that's right. Animal Farm. So basically, so I'll probably cut the video and go on to the Animal Farm section. I'll just leave it on. So I got to thinking more about Animal Farm. Like I said, I had to read it in middle school, and I don't remember much. I have to sit down and think about it. I've watched the movie or the cartoon a few times, and I remember I had to write a book report on Animal Farm, and I remember I wrote it, not a political paper. I wrote it pretty straight up, like you know, the humans were the master. And then the master lost control. Basically, the pigs took over the farm, and they started killing off the other animals because they didn't like the other animals. Something like that was what my book report was about. When I was an adult, I realized that the humans are the elites. They are the Soros, the Gates, the Rockefellers, They're the one that pulls all the strings. The old dog is, of course, he's the old guard. And of course, the pigs are the, I'm trying to think of the word. They're the proletariats. The one who's pushing for socialism, of course, the one who's trying to revolt. They're not actually the workers, because the proletariats were supposed to be the working man who was revolting. Of course, the sheeps were, of course, the sheep. They regurgitated everything that the pig said. You know, the 2 legs bad, 4 legs good. The chickens, like the rest of the animals, the chickens, the cows, the horse, all represented the industry. You know, the working class. And of course, in order for the pigs to get money, during their takeover, they got rid of the elite, which is the human, and then they sort of took over the farm. Of course, they got rid of the dog, because he was kind of like the watchdog, the old guard. So they got rid of him. They got rid of the. I think they sold the chickens and the eggs, or they just sold the eggs. They sold the chickens and the egg, and of course they started selling off all the animals in the farm to get money. I think they sold the cow too, the horse. So it was every time that the animals had a meeting at the. Every time the animals, of course, every time the pig, I forgot his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. I forget. I'll look it up and stick it on here. So every time the head pig, Napoleon. That's Napoleon. So every time Napoleon, yeah, and of course in the pig's rank there was another. I believe there was another pig that was sort of like, hey man, you know, maybe this ain't right. Maybe what you're doing is wrong. Of course, he gets killed off. So every time Napoleon calls for a meeting at the barn, all the animals show up. A few animals are missing. It's like, hey, where's so-and-so? You know, where's Betsy? I don't know where Betsy is, but of course Betsy got sold off. And the next meeting, the horse, hey, where's Wilbur? I don't think the horse name was Wilbur, but where's the horse? And the horse is gone. And hey, where's the chicken? The chickens are gone. So of course at the end, the pigs, it shows the pigs sitting at the table, dressed in human clothes. They're sitting in chairs. They're eating human food, drinking wine, and then of course the very last. Yeah, and of course the sheeps remind me of all of those leftist Antifa when they're out, and all the SJWs when they're out at their protests, and they're all chanting the same thing. And all I can think of is those sheeps from Animal Farm going 4 legs good at the end. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. Yeah, 4 legs good, 2 legs better. And then of course the sheep at the end were sold off too. So the useful idiots. Yeah, the sheep are basically the useful idiots. And at the end they too got sold off. And that is Animal Farm. And of course you got nothing left. So everyone's equally broke. The farm is no longer a functioning farm that works. So what you got left is a barren farm. That pretty much is what George Orwell was satirizing. At the end, you got nothing left. You got no industry left. You got no workers left. You have a barren farm. There's nothing being created, nothing being grown. And so open up the economy, because sooner or later we are going to be heading towards the 4 legs good, 2 legs better, where the farm's empty and there's nothing being produced. All right, well that's it. If you got a stick, doesn't matter which stick. You know, you can. Well, I don't think you can Black and Mild and Twice as Sweet. I don't think those are considered cigars. They call them cigars, but they're not cigars. But if you got your sticks, hell, even if you enjoy Black and Mild, Twice as Sweets, and the what else they're called, you know, enjoy your smoke while you can. Because I don't think there's any more, because of the coronavirus. I don't think there's any more cigars being, you know, coming into the U.S. So any cigars we're getting, if they're still rolling them, because we do have producers here in the U.S. specifically over in Florida. You know, yeah, we definitely need to get Florida up and going. Get the get the cigar rollers back into the factories, back into the rolling, whatever they call it, rolling assemblies. I watched a few videos of the guys rolling cigars, and I'm like, man, I could probably do it, but it's going to take a lot of, yeah, there's neighbors. Is that? Is someone's dog dying, or? I don't know what that is. I'll have to go check that out. Yeah, that's somebody's dog. Well, that's it. We'll go check out that whining dog. No, both my dogs are here. Just took them to the vet, had them vaccinated, so their papers are up in order. and of course the vet's like, hey, your dogs are now legal to walk the street. Yeah, thanks doc. All right, until the next smoke, again, enjoy your stick. So it doesn't matter what stick you got. I don't know about cigarettes, but you know, it's nice and warm now, so go outside, or if you smoke inside, you know, either way, enjoy your stick. Get a Cohiba. These are really nice. And you have a good one.